So we're going to go. We're going to go in a moment to Jarvis and Lauren, but I do want to just return for a second to the Mentimeter because we had some people who were asking, how do we get the responses? So let me just go back. I wanted to just go through and have a look. We've got nearly 90 comments in here. When they categorize, a lot of them are hopeful, a lot of them are excited. There's a lot of talk about a shift in consciousness. There is, of course, some concern and some worry as well. But just going through it, we'll get this into a report and share it with everyone as we go through. But you can see there's some beautiful, beautiful expressions here, and we're going to continue to use this tool as we go forward. So thank you, everybody, for the engagement. This is one way we're wanting to make sure we connect and engage with everybody throughout this symposium. Let me now introduce our next speakers in this Visionary Voices, and this will be just prior to the transition when we go into the engagement session inside the Zoom room, and it's also going to be facilitated by our next speakers. Both these speakers are here representing the World Upshift Forum, which is one of the organizations that Ervin Laszlo has inspired. And our first speaker to go together will be Jarvis Smith and Lauren Lamore. So let me tell you a little bit about Jarvis. Jarvis is a proud hippie, mystic, self-confessed tree hugger, and radical eco-warrior. Also a thought leader, media entrepreneur, guest, and renowned online retail businessman. His first magazine, Green, was published with National Geographic in 2008, which then moved to The Guardian in 2010, evolving into the My Green Pod magazine from 2013. Co-produced with his wife, Katie Hill, it is now the world's biggest ethical lifestyle magazine, and My Green Pod leads the field in ethical shopping. In 2010, he founded and still runs one of the world's most respected sustainability and climate awards, PEA, which is People Environment Achievement Awards. Jarvis, it's great to have you with us.
Ben, thank you very much. And thank you to all the... It feels like we're a team that are part of humanity's sacred mission and the awakening. So thank you all. Very briefly from me, I mean, you've given me a beautiful introduction, but I wanted to share my awakening, actually. So, you know, before I got into business, I was training with a female shaman for about 14 years. And the training was about deeply, deeply listening, like being still enough to hear the subtle frequencies that are being shared with us from nature and from each other. And we all have this kind of intuition and the sixth sense, but I was really trained in harnessing that. And during that time, I got a call from some TV researchers at Channel 4, and they said, "Yeah, Jarvis, we know you're a bit of a wacky guy. You talk to trees and you listen to the wind. We'd like to invite you onto a TV show." And so I said, "I can't tell you what it's about, but it's going to be extreme, and it's going to be, a really conscious show." I said, "Well, as long as it's not Big Brother, I'm in." So it turned out to be an eco-observational documentary where 10 of us had to live on a landfill to highlight what is one person's waste is another person's gold. And there is no such thing as when we throw things away, there is no such thing as a way. So this was back in 2006, but we were there for 3 weeks. But in the last week of my third week, last couple of days, the local dustbin truck came around the streets and picked up all the rubbish and came and dumped it on our beautiful site that we'd built somewhere to sleep and shower and go to the toilet and, all the things that you need when living in a rubbish dump. And they dumped this stuff, and we had to dress up in protective clothing and masks and everything else and start siphoning through the waste that had come from people's homes and decide whether it had to be recycled, whether it could go to landfill, or whether it could be composted. And after about 15 minutes of doing this, I felt physically violently sick, really bad headache, like a really bad hangover. And so because of my training with my female shaman, I knew how to release energy and actually replenish energy from the source that is our lovely planet. So I laid on the earth, released, took some deep breaths to rejuvenate myself, and I literally felt like I'd been struck by lightning. And I heard these words: how you are feeling now is how I feel. I'm sick and I need your help to tell people. And so that was my wake up moment. And I went away, and as you said, I launched the world's biggest ethical lifestyle magazine, and we now run a My Green Pod, which is an inspiring ethical citizen network, which recommends products that are about the best they can be. If you need to buy anything, then these are the least toxic. And so that brought me to become a pioneer, and as you said, a thought leader, which I think it's more heart leadership than thought leadership. But anyway, and I was invited onto Ervin Laszlo's, who's our great, kind of inspiration for this session, onto his podcast, The Dawn of an Era. And at the very end of this podcast, after I'd explained very similarly to what I've just shared, said to me, Jarvis, we need you. This is exactly what I'm working on at the moment, is organizations like yours that are upshifting and transforming and transcending consciousness in the way that they live in the world and the way that they do business in the world. And so that was my invitation to what we now operate under the movement of the World Upshift Movement, inspired by Ervin. Thank you for the invitation. So I followed that invitation, and I would see myself as a project that is trying to upshift humanity through this challenge that we are calling a climate crisis. So that has been my journey and my invitation, and my beloved friend here, Lauren, is going to share a little bit more about the World Upshift Movement and its purpose, and really our invitation to you all. Lauren, over to you.
Thank you, Jarvis. Let me just do a brief introduction for Lauren, who's joining us, and we're so delighted to have you with us. Lauren Lamore, MS, is the founder and creator of the Life Visionary Life Coaching and Spiritual Mentoring Process. She has coached countless women to power up, align with their soul's purpose, and bring their visions to life. A certified personal and business coach and mental health counselor with a deep foundation in spirituality, Lauren Lamore has become a recognized expert in personal development and leadership training during the past 20 years. Lauren, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jarvis. That was lovely to hear your story. I always love hearing it. To echo Ervin Laszlo's words, holotropism in the universe has a vital implication. It highlights the need to reestablish coherence in the human world wherever it has been impaired and ignored. This restoration begins with each of us. As beautifully noted by my colleague Jarvis, engaging in inner work, quieting the mind, opening the heart, and aligning with the cosmos ushers us into a profound truth, a state where we are reminded of our divinity and our interconnectedness with all that is. The isolated, separate self hinders our evolution, and we are called to transition to this new state of being. By loving ourselves and each other, we create a synergistic energy, quickening repair and evolution. As social animals, we know we can't do this alone. We must unite, forging a new way of being, working, and living responsibly. And as the beloved Mother Teresa told us, none of us, including me, ever do great things, but we can do small things with great love. And together, we can do something wonderful. At World Upshift, which was inspired by the esteemed Ervin Laszlo and championed by the award-winning civil rights activist Roger Casale and many others, we recently celebrated our first anniversary. Many earnest individuals are contributing to the global upshift, developing partnerships and social systems with global leaders, addressing urgent issues. In this emerging movement, relationships and collaborations thrive with the ultimate goal of solving the problems we are all painfully aware of. In this organization, I've had the privilege of sitting across from many of these leaders, building relationships, encouraging collaboration, and promoting an upshift in their respective areas. We meet people and organizations where they are, listen deeply, and allow that energy to guide the next steps. What I've discovered and hope to share in forums like these is that despite what our news may convey, there are many, and I mean many, and many of them are here, loving, compassionate, and brilliant individuals working tirelessly to address these problems identified in many of our society's sectors. Many of these challenges already have solutions or are very close to resolution. World Upshift is working to establish a collaborative network to build genuine and compassionate relationships, open channels of communication, and facilitate sharing to achieve these goals more rapidly. To demonstrate what's possible, our newest member from the Netherlands, a leader in environmental management for over 35 years, established a business recycling plastics into sustainable building materials. Their success then birthed an NGO empowering impoverished communities all over the world by teaching them how to implement their technology. She then connected through the World Upshift community with another NGO located in India who was interested in bringing their work to her community. With just one call, one Zoom group meeting, and a few emails, this collaboration took shape, and these two leaders will be meeting in India in about 4 weeks' time. Though, of course, more calls are going to be needed, the infrastructure is set, illustrating the power of a coherent heart-mind aligned in love and sacred mission. So we aspire to play our small role with great love and to be a catalyst for more practical upshifting this year and beyond. A few ways in which we'll be doing this are creating expert panel events and webinars to bring our members together, highlighting their work and upshifting and upskilling our community. Our next event will feature a panel of experts focusing on psychedelics and the development of consciousness. We'll be supporting a variety of upshifting events worldwide, regularly updated on our website, and you can find that at worldupshift.org. And lastly, our World Upshift Forum, where the practical work will take place, is something that's launching very soon. So if you're interested in joining this small group engagement, please write to me at lauren@worldupshift.org with forum in the subject line, and then someone will reach out to you with the date of our next meeting. And so finally, just thank you for dedicating your precious time today and sharing your love and contributing your gifts as we collectively awaken to humanity's sacred mission. Namaste. And now back to Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Jarvis, for sharing that. Beautiful stories, personal stories and experiences, the World Upshift Forum, and also your incredible personal platforms and projects. Lauren, I loved hearing about that synchronicity that is, bringing people together and then fomenting these global projects at the local level. That's such a huge part of what we're able to do, and I think what Aman was talking about before that and everything that Purpose Earth is striving to do, and My Green Pod and so many other organizations is really about stimulating transformation at that local level right around the world. So thanks for bringing that beautiful story and how these, things can come together and birth something new. And something impactful and productive and valuable, gives all of us a lot of hope. So we're going to transition now into the engagement session, and Jarvis and Lauren have prepared a word cloud on the Mentimeter to do this, and Jarvis is going to do something really special to kick off the engagement session when we get over there, which we're going to keep as a bit of a surprise. But we need your participation. So what we need you to do, this one is a word cloud. So get your phones out, and this is a new QR code. We'll drop the link also into the chat. So get that into the chat. But here it is. And the question is, what words express the essence that really stood out for you from the visionary voices? So that's going to be words that really jump out to you that express any of the speakers, from Ervin to Bob, to Yuka, to Joe, to Iman, to now just as we've just had the last two speakers, Lauren and Jarvis. And just put your words in. We'll make sure the link goes out into the chat as well. I'll have to just stop screen share briefly to flick that on. But we're going to do this, jump into the, we're going to do it here and jump into the engagement room. And excuse me, get the link out there so people can join in multiple different ways. And for the presenters, we'll see you over in the engagement session. Ervin, we hope you can join us over there into the participants room, excuse me. And here we go. We'll get this back up. I want to be seeing the word cloud already coming together. Have a look at this. This is fun. And we'll get everybody bumped over there so we can continue. But look at the word cloud that's coming together. Look at our beautiful community that is engaging. Love in the center. Well, we couldn't have scripted that any better. Beautiful, surrounded by coherence. I want to thank the Coherence Council, who's been lovingly stewarding this project over the last months. Julie Krull and an incredible team. Upshift, we can see is there, which is a beautiful thing to see. Embodiment, consciousness. When we looked at the last one about how people are feeling about the world, this shift in consciousness was very prevalent. And we heard it from Ervin, we heard it from Bob, we heard it from all of the speakers today, that ultimately we are experiencing, we are embodying, we are undergoing and living through this profound shift in global and cosmic consciousness that many of the spiritual traditions have tools and guides for. But you can see here, local is there, unity is there, sacred is there, hollow movement is there. Thank you. Harmony, oneness, essential mysticism. So I'll stop reading this. I'm just having too much fun. But I'm going to stop that. We'll continue. We'll come back and have a look at that. But I want to ask you, Jarvis, are you going to do it? We'll do it from here. Let's do it here. So, and then Lauren and Jarvis, if you have access to, I'll keep it up. I'll keep it up. Over to you, Lauren and Jarvis.
Thank you. Thank you. So as I mentioned to everybody earlier, that my 14 years of training with a female shaman indigenous to the UK in the art of listening. And what happens is when one listens and you get to hear frequencies and vibrations at the subtle level, I luckily had a voice box that I was able to interpret some of these sounds that I could hear and some of these frequencies that I could feel, and then bring them back through song and through sound. So I'd like to invite everybody to, I call it changing gear, perhaps to go inwards for a moment, to integrate the collective consciousness that is emerging through this session. So if I could invite everybody for a moment to close their eyes, and as Jude very kindly invited us to do, is just take a few deep breaths and just come back to self for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen and tune in to this collective consciousness stream. And if the team, and I call them the team, the divine beings, the angels, the guides, the ancestors, all of those subtle energies and beings around us that have perhaps walked the earth and walked in other dimensions, but totally here supporting us through this transition, I'm going to be a channel for them to pass through a message to you all, but not through language in terms of words, but through language of song, vibration, and frequency. So as you take a few deep breaths with your eyes closed, I would invite you to just connect with the 4 elements of beingness. The first being the mental body, the mind. And just through the invitation of the breath, invite the mental body, the mental element, the mental spoke of your wheel, just into alignment. So take a moment just to invite the mental body into alignment. And when you feel the mental body resting within the safety and support of beingness, and consciousness and awareness, then just take yourself to the center of knowing that mental body in its rested, peaceful, unified space. And then we'll use the breath just to invite into balance and into unity with the mental body, the physical body. So using the breath to invite the physical body into unity, into balance with the mental body. So I always imagine this like 4 spokes on a cross, or the Celtic cross, or 4 spokes on a wheel. So bringing them into equilibrium, into balance with each other. So the physical body comes into balance with the mental body. And then just take a few deep breaths and just get to know yourself through this invitation of bringing balance to those 2 elements. And then allow yourself to rest at the center, knowing that they are simply a part of you, but not the whole of you. You are the center, the heart center of these 2 elements. And then bring into balance and gather up the emotional body, the emotional field, the emotional spoke on the wheel. And gather up your feeling state, your emotional field, and invite it through the invitation of the breath into balance and harmony with the physical body and with the mental body. So you may begin to feel the shape of these 3 elements coming into harmony, into balance. You may sense it, know it, see it, hear it, whilst you're deeply engaged with your inner self. And once you feel the balance and the unity of the emotional body, the emotional element in harmony and balance with the physical and the mental bodies, then I invite you to bring the 4th spoke to the wheel, the spirit body. So through the invitation of the breath, gather up the spiritual body and invite it to come into alignment with the emotional, the physical, and the mental. So you begin to have this perfect aligned Celtic cross where all of the spokes are exactly the same size. And there you rest in the center, in the heart of these 4 spokes. And the circumference is a perfect circular, spiraling sense of self, your immediate field of consciousness and awareness. And as you've brought these and invited these and co-created the rebalancing of your beingness, of the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, and the mental, just get a sense of self and allow them to emerge. Get a sense of how that feels to feel completely integrated, very simply by the invitation of the breath. And I invite you to open the back of the heart, open the back of the heart center, and welcome in the wisdom and intelligence that comes from our teams, from our ancestors, our spiritual guides, the animal kingdoms, nature. All those influences that are around us. Open up the back of the heart and just allow yourself in this moment to experience the unknown, that which you have yet to experience. Feel your connection with the earth. Feel your connection through the crown with the above. And allow those to inform your heart in this moment, your heart center, the meeting place of all these multi-dimensional connections that we have. And then through being powered up by everything that you have access to, then just offer gratitude outwards to each of us here. Offer gratitude and love out to the world by being supported by your connection with the divinity, the great mystery. And recognizing as you are offering outwards your love and gratitude and appreciation that you are also receiving. And gently listening and going with the flow. And in your own time, when you are ready, take a few deep breaths. Allow yourself to stay connected and also re-emerge back to the outer relationship while staying connected with the inner and the divine. Just very gently bring yourself back to the room, to the symposium. And we will transition into our engagement collective session. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Jarvis and Lauren. We're going to go into the other room. The details are in the link here.
I have a great trust in human nature because human nature is nature in the human form.
We are 8 billion people living on one planet. Will we ever be a global community living in peace with each other and harmony with the earth? Or are we doomed to increasing destruction, degradation of nature, and endless antagonism towards each other? There is a critical mass around the world now that realizes it is ultimately up to us in our common humanity to answer and act on this fundamental question.
There is a mission. There is a tremendous wave surfacing. People joining together, asking, what can we do? We cannot go on as we were. We have to move forward.
While institutions fail us in this critical moment, we must look for hope in ourselves and each other to become and to drive the change, the upshift that needs to happen now. This is your invitation to Awakening Humanity's Sacred Mission, an international symposium and call to action. This live global online event, initiated by Ervin Laszlo, represents an unprecedented cooperation of global impact networks. The symposium, featuring many of the world's leading thinkers and activists, is free to all and takes place on February 9th through 11th, 2024, across the Lunar New Year. We invite you to join us in awakening to humanity's sacred mission, together as one human family. The time has come. Register for free now, and please share widely.
People are already beginning to feel it. There is a great upshift underway today. So join it, because together we can fulfill the sacred mission of humanity.
Lauren, our most recent speakers, and we're going to keep an eye out for them as they're popping into the room, as we had to transition there from one room to another, and they bring Jarvis up. Hi, Jarvis. That was beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful embodied meditation, brother. That was a wonderful way to conclude. And here we are in the gallery. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for that. And we're going to get into it, because we are going to get into this engagement session. Weren't they fantastic speakers? Brilliant lineup of speakers, beautifully presented, and then a wonderful to conclude with you two. So, Lauren, Jarvis, I'll get the Mentimeter ready. We're going to have another word cloud as we get ready to go into the breakout. So, and then you're going to take us into the breakouts, and then we'll have another engagement after that. So, over to you two.
Great. I'm unmuted. Lauren, may I hand to you first?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ben, for bringing us over here and getting the engagement kick started here. I think we're waiting for that Mentimeter to be put up. Is that the next step?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining. Those of you that are here. What we wanted to do is obviously using the Mentimeter, because it's a great piece of technology. Ask you all to engage in that, but we are going to be having breakout rooms, and there are going to be various questions for the breakout rooms that will obviously come up on the screen as you go into your breakout room. So, Lauren, that's how I understand it. Is that correct?
That was my understanding too. Yeah. Do we want to take him?
Just quickly, the questions won't be on the screen, but
okay.
The reporting will be done through Mentimeter. But we're going to go into the breakouts, Jarvis, with the questions that you'd ask people to share with each other. And so if you just want to give people the questions in advance, and then you'll be spun into randomly generated rooms of 3, 4, or 5 people. And then we'll be in there for about 12 minutes. Becky, and then we're going to come back and we're going to use the Mentimeter to report on what the outcome of that Mentimeter of the breakouts were. So, Jarvis and Lauren, what do you want people when we go into the breakouts? There's an opportunity for everybody to share their expressions, what they've taken, their sacred mission. What's the thing you want people to be discussing in the breakouts when they go in?
Yeah, I just put those in the chat for everybody so they can read them. But the first question is, how might humanity live the essence of some of the core messages that came in through the speakers, and what frequencies or words are missing, if any? Just lost my screen. Moved it over. Let me see. And then the second question was, what needs to change for it to happen? And how might that occur in society, in our society, in a micro or a macro level? What examples are in play? For example, new leadership, shift in consciousness, humanity to come together, and being living the change. And then the third question is, if you have the time, what do you see as your particular sacred mission in the world? And I'll keep putting those in the chat as it sort of scrolls, just to make it easier for folks.
So it's my understanding that each breakout room will focus on each singular question, right, Ben?
Yeah, so that's right. So when we go into the breakouts, how might humanity live the essence of those words we saw, that love and consciousness and all the beautiful words that were just expressed? What might be missing? And then this question is great. What needs to change for it to happen? And what might that occur? Now, when you go into the breakouts, if everyone can just self-organize, speak for a couple of minutes each and listen to each other, and then you'll get an opportunity to report back through the reporting tool everything that you've discussed together in those small groups. So again, the question, Jarvis and Lauren, you really want people to answer is, how can we live up to these beautiful ideals? How can we live up to these beautiful essences of what we've experienced so far? And what are some things we might be missing? And also what change needs to happen for us to close that gap? So that's the topic of the conversation. And then you'll all get a chance to share some of your experiences on the other side of the breakouts. We'll be in for 12 minutes. You'll be in groups of 3, 4, or 5. So make sure everybody gets a chance to share, what is it that we need to do to live up to these beautiful sharings of humanity's sacred mission, and what needs to happen? How do we, what needs to happen on a micro and a macro level for us to get there? And then you'll have the chance to report on the other side.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ben. Thank you. So the invitation for the first breakout group is really for one person to speak and really share, and for the other two people in the group just to listen, not to get into a conversation about it, but just to deeply listen to what your soul brother or sister is sharing. And then after a minute or two, and then you swap around. So that's the invitation for this first breakout group. I hope it's clear. I think it's pretty clear because Ben just nicely nailed it for us. So off we go to the breakout room. See you on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.
The rooms are now open. If you get a notification to accept the invitation, please accept it, and we will have you fly into those Zoom rooms. You're mutable, my friend. You're muted. We can't hear you.
You go to Unity Earth and look at the Symposium 2024, and you can just go straight to register. You get the Zoom link straight away. So it's you'll find it there. And come in and share this engagement session with us. But while people are in the breakouts, Jarvis and Lauren, why don't we have a go? We're still broadcasting. Why don't we have a go at answering this question ourselves? So how can we live up to the essence of of the words that stood out from that word cloud? Lauren, why don't you kick us off? What do you think?
And the first thing that comes to mind is love, recognizing that was the largest word. For those that aren't familiar with how the Mentimeter works, the word that is mentioned the most grows the largest. And as we saw, at least in the last version, love was at the center, and it was indeed the largest. And so, I feel like our inner work is always the most important. And if we can remember to start there and move from that place of love, in with that intention, I think that things have a very good chance of working out.
Yeah, beautiful. Love was at the center, wasn't it? Big and at the center, Jarvis. What were your reflections from that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the words that really stood out for me was love and unity, and I think that there's been a manipulation of this word love, through the Hollywood model of love and through Greek tragedy and, all these kind of conceptual ideas. But the true essence of love, we all know it. We all feel it. If we can share it, certainly, if not always in human relationship, but certainly in the relationship with nature, then of course that always starts with self. So, it's a very, very beautiful, abundant, powerful thing, love. So it's so lovely to see that love was the strong word. But I do believe that we incarnated into this world, into this dimension, into this reality, and wanted to experience ourselves in relationship with, with Gaia, with Mother Nature. So we could actually get to know love by our outside experience. I feel like we know love already within, and we've come here to experience it in relationship with others. And that's a magical thing. That's a really wonderful playground. And maybe we are experiencing ourselves right now, perhaps as a species or as a game, which I like to look at it a bit more in fun, is that maybe we've pushed ourselves so far away from it that when we come back to it in unity, in togetherness, in co-creativeness, when we remember that we are all connected and there is no such thing as separation, and when we realign with our natural world and the balance and then the universe, that we might actually offer streams of consciousness that actually help the whole system to evolve, to upgrade, to upshift. Because we've gone so far away, and all we've ever done is try to be love and try to experience ourselves of love, but often through this thing we call pain, or through this thing we call hurt, or through this thing we call disconnection. And perhaps that's where the greatest, most insightful wisdom and sharings have come from. So that's why, to me, it feels like this is a monumental, magical opportunity for us to remember, to awaken those cells within us that already communicate with each other through the culture that lives in our microbiome and in our stomach and in our energy and in everything else. And if we can perhaps just allow ourselves to remember and awaken, and perhaps get the little bit of the I out of the way so we can become we, then we will begin to feel that vibration and actually transform this crazy world that we're living in into letting it reform itself in a different way, because we know this one's not working. So what have we got to lose?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jarvis. That was beautiful. And thank you, Lauren, for presencing the heart of all of that. So how might humanity live the essence of the words? Well, I think you've both shared delightfully, and it's an incredible challenge. I think that we've seen and heard, I think, quite a lot of spiritual wisdom here as well, that it does take that level of personal transformation. There are so many tools. I mean, we're blessed to be born in an era like this, where we have access to all the world's great wisdom traditions and lineages and religious, faith-based traditions, indigenous perspectives and wisdom traditions. We really have such an extraordinary opportunity to engage with every possible aspect of human wisdom, culture, and tradition. And so I think part of that, the challenge is there's so much, is that, sometimes it's hard for people to kind of like find something and stick to it in a way that actually ends up being transformative. We try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. It's kind of fun. But I think that those wisdom traditions, the indigenous wisdom traditions and the faith-based traditions and emerging spiritual wisdom, has so much to give us and offer us and guide us on this journey. I mean, it's not an easy task. I think you said before, Jarvis, and we can all relate to it, that it's often in our adversity that we grow the most, when things happen that we probably don't want to happen to us, but in those situations that we grow the most. But in order to really come through that, we need to be able to draw upon those resources. And yes, within us is the infinite resources. And also sometimes we need some scaffolding and some things to be able to borrow and get us through from one stage to the next. And so I think that in the community that we're being a part of here is a tremendous resource in being able to draw on each other for solace, and for consolation and for inspiration and for, when we're down, to be picked up. And that's love in action, right? So I think that's definitely a big part of humanity's sacred mission, is basically looking after each other, right? And taking care of each other as much as we can. Yeah. So let's, the next question that you guys had so beautifully proposed here, and we're going to be answering this one in detail through the responses, which is what needs to change for it to happen. So what's got to happen in our society on a micro or a macro level? Love to hear your thoughts on that, Lauren. What's got to happen? What's got to change now on a macro level, micro level for this to take place and to unfold?
I mean, I think it really still goes back to the same point of what we were talking about. If we remember the truth of who we are and what we're capable of, and remember to start there first and move out from that place, that takes care of a lot of the issues that we're encountering, in my experience. And the second part is, and I see this every day as I talk to the people who are doing this sort of work, when we tune in and really pay attention to those things that make us come alive, understanding, you talk about a sacred mission, understanding that that's no accident. There's a reason you are here, and each and every one of us plays a role, an important role. So if we start with tuning in and understanding, I have a mission here that's very important. What is it, and how do I find it? And the way that I have found it is to pay attention to those places where I feel I come alive, where I feel I can make a meaningful contribution. And I just want to encourage everyone who's here listening, if maybe they feel they don't feel they can make a difference. I know sometimes the world feels overwhelming, which is why I wanted to point to all the people who are doing incredible work all over the world, as they are, and the speakers here and many, many, many others that we're talking to on a daily basis. It's not what we hear every day when we tune in, wherever we tune in. But if we tune into ourselves, into our heart, and remember and ask the question, how may I serve? On what level will be shown, and trust that, I feel that we will begin to see the change happen. And, frankly, I see it every day as people show up, tuning in, creating synergy, watching the synchronicity, taking that next step, and remembering also it doesn't have to be linear, and it often is not, which also can sort of be disheartening for folks if they're feeling like it's going to take so long, it's going to be so hard, it's step 1, 2 to 10. It actually isn't when we work in this field and in this way. So, I feel like that would be a big step in the right direction.
Beautiful. It's great to see it happening too, isn't it? And sort of feel it and experience. And we've got a long way to go, but you can feel that happening. Jarvis, we've got a minute left of the breakouts. It'll be fascinating to see what people are going to report. What are your thoughts, brother, on what needs to change?
Yeah, for me, I like to keep things simple, because I think, I'm quite a simple person, and the way I was trained was simplicity seems to be the better of consciousness. But for me, that word that you used about the indigenous, it strikes me that every single human being on the planet is indigenous. The problem is that we've forgotten our indigenous sacred ways. We've been born into a system that has given us an addiction to the outside world, and an addiction to, a lifestyle and an economy that is now we're seeing is potentially wrecking and causing havoc with our, divine planet that supports us. So it's awakening the memory within, and I think it's the easiest thing to do because it's a truth. So how do we do that? it's, as Lauren has said, by asking the questions, what is my purpose? Why did I choose to incarnate into this world at this time when it seems to be the most chaotic time ever? Maybe I've got something to add. So if we can remember what we're brilliant at or what we love doing, and then offer that to the awakening of the sacred mission within ourselves and within others, then even if we do all go out, we'll go out in joy doing what we love and what we're brilliant at. But it's very unlikely that we will.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Love it, Jarvis. Thank you. Thank you and Lauren. And I think the breakouts are closing and people are coming back into the room. So
yay.
Lauren and Jarvis, you want to welcome them back and we'll get the next Mentimeter up.
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. And maybe, Ben, you could give me a thumbs up when we know that everybody is back in. I hope that your session, firstly, was enriching, because really to be able to speak out what is you're feeling inside and for others to listen is a wonderful gift for the listeners and a wonderful gift for the speakers. So the reason we did that is because what we wanted to do is just to work out whether your immediate response was still the same after contemplation and actually speaking out the words. And as we know, the words have the power to manifest. And with Ervin's work and Jude's work and many others that are converging science and spirituality, we know that actually the information that is conscious creates the reality that we live in. So if we can change the building blocks of the information, then we will actually create a different experience on the outside world. That seems to be how it works. So well done, magical. So are we moving to question 3 now? And this is a question. Oh, yes, great.
We're going to do question 2. Yeah, good question 2, and then we'll go straight.
Sorry, I thought we did 1 and 2 before. So we're going to question 2. My apologies. And this is the question in front of us. How might humanity live the essence of the love, the unity, the hollow movement, all those amazing words that came up in the word cloud? And what, if any, frequencies or words could be missing now you've had a chance to express yourself and, if you like, put the feeling state of your beingness into manifestation by saying those words? Is there anything missing? What is it that's missing? And what other frequencies might you add, or words might you add? Courage, fantastic. Love that. Has just popped up on the screen. So we're presumably in Mentimeter mode now. So please add anything else or build on the words that you've already used. Or if it was as simple as love and unity, then please add those again. We're not asking you necessarily to come back with different words. We're just really asking to whether things have evolved through the exploration of the listening and talking. So it looks as if. So courage is a really interesting one. Alignment, fantastic. I totally agree with that. Compassion, yes, we definitely need that in the world at the moment with everything that's going on. Partnership with nature. So they all seem to, living, loving universe. Practice stewardship, love that. Respect for diversity. Sacrifice, coherence, trust. So living, loving universe seems to be our power mantra, or if you like, our central sun in this word cloud. Listening and compassion are close supporters to living, loving universe, which is amazing. Let's see how this evolves. We've also got words coming into the chat for those that aren't on the Mentimeter. We've got connection. We've got all kinds of self-consciousness, engagement, act, integration, transparency, collaboration. Those of you that are in the chat, maybe we could share the Mentimeter link again. And if anybody would like to add to there we go. So you can click on that and you can add your words, your frequencies, your vibrations, your sense of beingness through the intellect of words into the Mentimeter, and it will continue to grow this reality. Because I believe that if we are putting the intention from our connection within, if we're putting that into the outside, then we are collectively manifesting that. And we all know the power of co-creation. So we're still really, really supported by deep listening, by prayer, music. Yes, I'm a singer-songwriter, for many of you that don't know. I'm still a signed recording artist, and I've just produced a track called Save the World, that's raising money for Greta Thunberg's Fridays for Future's MAPPA movement. So anybody that's listening, if you've got Spotify or any of those membership music systems that we use, please go and into your system and save a track called Save the World by Jarvis Smith, and just play it as much as you can, because every time it gets played, 100% of that money is donated to the most affected people and areas through the Fridays for Futures movement. So we've still got, now this is nice because it's evolving beautifully, but we still have a collective central theme of deep listening, of living, loving universe, of co-creation. And then it's surrounded by divine connection, by presence, by empathy, stillness, courage, dance. Yes.
It's great, Jarvis. I want to bring Lauren in here just for a moment to see, Lauren, what are you picking up here, Lauren, in this this beautiful creation?
Thank you, Ben. Yes, some of the work, I love all of them, though. It's just amazing how many. Presence, deep listening, forgiveness, empathy, prayer. Prayer seems to be growing, which is really beautiful to see for me. Healing, non-locality, stillness, divine connection, and dialogue seems to be growing as well. Co-creation, dance again. Dance is growing. That's my favorite. It's like nothing's wrong in the world when you're dancing. Right? Am I right?
You are. Joy popped right into the center there when you said that.
There you go.
I mean, this is amazing because this is actually, this is a visual example of how our thoughts create, right? This is brilliant.
Now, there's one more question, which people are going to have a little bit more chance to write a little bit more, which is what they experienced in the breakout about what needs to change on the macro and micro level for us in order to. And by the way, we just, I saw Ervin Laszlo who's joined us here in the participants room. So we want to welcome you, Ervin. It's great that you made it in. We definitely want to hear from you before we close today. But shall we go, Jarvis and Lauren, to the next question, where people will have a little bit more opportunity to share their thoughts and what they heard and what they shared in the breakouts?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do it. All right. So what needs to change for it to happen? It to happen, the shift, the consciousness rising, the humanity's sacred mission being fulfilled. How might that occur in a society, micro and macro level, local, global? What examples? There are some examples that they put in there, like new leadership, shift in consciousness, greater unity. We just sort of prompt some prompts there, but we really want to hear as we go to this next question. It's the same. It's if you go to next question, it should actually refresh for you. But if you go to the QR code again, and you can already see people are starting to fill this in. It's the same link in the chat, but I will put it back in again just so it's top of there for everybody. And let's just spend 3 minutes. Let's just spend 3 minutes, filling this in together and see what emerges. Then we can reflect on it. It was such a beautiful word cloud. This one will be a little different in the sense that it's going to be a few more of a phrase that's coming in. And Lauren and Jarvis, feel free to call out what you see coming in.
Ben, I don't know if we're seeing the word cloud appear on the share.
No, I'm seeing the sentences.
This is not so much a word cloud as phrases. It's phrases.
It comes up as phrases. Okay, got it.
Because this is open-ended. And then when we, in a minute, we can group the responses and see what the AI does with it.
Got it. So we're seeing here Gosh, there's some amazing stuff. Restore Indigenous Wisdom has just come up in the chat. Love and More Loving Capitals. That's a sung, shouted version of that. I love that. Work with Shadow. Oh, yeah. Trust. I think that's a really, really good one, because it's quite tricky to trust, isn't it, in the world that is a bit challenging at the moment. But actually, if we can increase the vibration of trust, then that will obviously expand into consciousness for everybody. So, yeah, love that. Invitation to nature, invitation from nature. Model what we want to see. Yeah, Gandhian phrase, be the change we want to see in the world. I love that mantra. I don't think that we need to recreate any more mantras. That's the one.
Yes. Beautiful wisdom.
Embodying the sacred. Love that. I guess understanding more the sacred, because perhaps we are already the embodiment of sacred, just to challenge that a little bit, but maybe understanding it or getting to know it more. So I guess that's the same thing as embodying it, right? Living it. For me to engage, to listen to others, so we emerge in the dance. Yeah, I'd like to share a little story just while you're doing this. So when I connected with nature, Mother Nature, about the climate crisis, and I'm constantly doing that nearly every day, what she just keeps telling me is that this is, firstly, do you think I'm calling this a crisis, which is one of the things she said to me. So that made me laugh. And then she said that, perhaps if humanity will at the very least, just wake up to living in gratitude for everything that I've given you, for you to create your, profitable businesses, and for you to thrive, and et cetera, et cetera. If you could just unify in gratitude and praise for what I've been able to do as your support system, then I can turn this thing around miraculously. I have the power and the ability to shift what you're calling a crisis into something else very quickly, but it will require co-participation, co-creation. And that starts with gratitude and appreciation for everything that I've given to you. So I thought that was a beautiful message from the earth. So just sharing that, maybe this thing that we're calling a crisis is actually just a very simple opportunity to have our shamanic awakening en masse together collectively, so that when we all evolve, we all come out of it with the wisdom of knowing and being and connecting. So what else have we got? Love and peace. Yeah, love that.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom of knowing and being and connecting here, right here in this responses, Jarvis and Lauren.
This is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And, we may, this is incredible. So if I push space, we'll see what the AI does in terms of putting it into categories.
So it's going to pull it all together. Got it. So it's sorting the circles from the squares, it says.
Right.
Okay. So the biggest, there's four that are completely very close to each other. Creative expression, trust, conscious.
Go into the creative expression ones. Yeah.
Ah, got it. Wow.
And then trust. Trust is big.
Trust is big
one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So how do we cultivate trust? That would be a good question for us to ask ourselves. Cultivating trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I think that's a very important question to ask and cultivate trust. And I'm hearing it in a lot of different places, and now we're seeing it here.
Divine alignment.
Nature
connection is really strong.
Yeah, that's been my gateway to trusting, is having that connection with nature, which is innate in all of us. We've just been ripped away from it by a system that's been trying to tell us that money makes the world go round, when we know that's a lie.
Well, interesting. Economic transition is got a whole theme too as well. So isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's really magical. Really magical. Great harvesting tool.
10 different ones found. So we'll go back. We'll stop it there. That was really, really special, and seeing all the different expressions. We hope that people really enjoyed being in the breakout groups, and perhaps we can, as we're starting to come towards the end of session one here, perhaps we can bring Ervin back Ervin Laszlo is here with us, and hopefully you've been enjoying some of the engagements.
Yes, I have been. I have been enjoying it. Yeah.
And the speakers that followed you, Ervin, were excellent. Are there any sort of reflections that you have for us as we come towards the end of the first session of this Humanities Sacred Mission Symposium?
Off the cuff, it seems to me that the idea of fundamental change is getting hold. That really that is not something that you can patch up. That is something new is beginning, and we have to live that something new. And that change starts with us. I mean, I think these are things that are seem to be coming out. The whole notion of upshift, which I loved about 2 years ago, and now it's catching on. I mean, people are in organizations, everything is using it. And I think the whole idea of the sacred mission will likewise probably catch on. That is something more than just a patchwork. There's something that's very deep that is awaiting us and that we have to do. This is a moral obligation as conscious human beings. So I think these things are literally catching on. Sorry, I'm using another computer, so the photo is not so good. Probably I would have to put on another light while I use the other lights in all the other computers.
You're fine, Ervin. It's good. It's just great to have you with us.
Okay, so I could switch over on the other computer, so I have to use this one. Okay, so I'm very happy with the idea of fundamental change. Really, something important is happening, and it starts with us. I mean, these are, I think, things that we have to take away. We can't take with us.
Well, thank you so much. And I think it's been a beautiful session. It's our first one of 6. And then, of course, we're going to have the 2 harvest days on February 18th. And we're going to continue to improve and learn and grow. I really want to thank you, Jarvis Smith and Lauren Lamore, for facilitating, for speaking today, and to all of our speakers who were really excellent. We'll keep the Zoom room open for a little while longer. But I just wanted to acknowledge the 2 of you for doing a great job. This is session 1, which is closing, and then session 2, which is coming up in just a few hours, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to move quite quickly to implementation, which I think is super exciting. And I know everyone here is ready to go and get it done, whatever getting it done may look like. We have some business leaders from Europe, some brilliant thought leaders. Michael Sheldrick's the co-founder of Global Citizen, where many of us know the festivals, Adam C. Hall, Harry Vegi and Tamsin and Rocky. It's an amazing lineup, and it's going to be facilitated engagement session from Anna Marie Vahova and Hasina Patel from the Hague Center for Global Governance. So there's a lot more. And then tomorrow, it just continues with these extraordinary global leaders coming together, synergizing for change at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Peacemaking, co-hosted by John Raymer and the incredible group that's come together around peacemaking. And then session 5, Embody and Engage. They're all amazing. And session 6, Bringing It Home. Slightly different time on Sunday. It's at 4 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. So all of them are going to have these engagement sessions. But thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Jarvis. Do you have any sort of closing reflections, Lauren Lamore? And again, thank you for your support and your work to facilitate this session and to present today. Well, let's get you unmuted. Go ahead. Sorry, Lauren, go ahead.
No worries. I just wanted to thank you, Ben, and to re-echo your words of the beautiful inspirational words and work that all of the speakers before us were and are doing. So thank you all. It's been a lot of fun being with you and your team, and Jarvis as well.
Thank you, Brother Jarvis, for your gifts of the facilitation and the beautiful meditation and sound meditation you did. Any final comments from you?
Only a huge gratitude and appreciation. Ervin, it's so lovely to see you and share this space with you, all of the other speakers as well. And Ben, to you and your team, all the people behind the scenes that are making this happen smoothly and slickly and beautifully. Thank you for having us. It's been a great, great pleasure. I really, really appreciate it. And to Humanities team, you are all wonderful. Let's go and change the world, be the change, and watch it evolve and emerge. Thank you.
Absolutely. Magnificent. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. And I just want to also share what John Ramos put in the chat. We're getting ready for the harvest on the 18th, but we need your contribution to that. Go ahead, John. I'm going to put the link in the chat again. To the feedback.
I mean, we've got 150 people here. This is important, given the urgency of our situation. I don't want to run away.
No. Go for it.
Everybody knows what's going on here. That we've got 5 more sessions, and then we got a pause of a week to really reflect on what is being shared in new creative ways. It was beautiful what you, Lauren, and Jarvis and Ben just created there and what we all did. So in addition to the real-time feedback, we want to get some reflective feedback. And you don't have to answer every question that's in this survey, but we are suggesting for each session, if you're participating in all 6, fill out that survey to inform our awakening. That's the session on the 18th. And we don't know where we're going to be on the 18th and what's possible between now and then. So just encourage everyone to play full out now. If not now, when? And if not us, who? So.
Okay.
Thanks. I really appreciate this. This is amazing.
Let's dance with the planet and dance with each other, okay?
I love that.
To do that.
We need some music.
Game on.
All the best.
That's great. All right. The form is in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Dance with each other. Dance with the planet. We want to stay. We can stay talking for a long time, but we got 3 days of this, and then we got the harvest. So most importantly is we want you to come back. Becky, Suzik, thank you.
So just want to make sure we're not doing time for total reflections yet in terms of hands up, except what we wanted to do is address what's come in the chat about how people can watch the recordings of this. And so Unity Earth Television will have the recording there, and with the email that you signed up to, we will be sending you follow-up emails about how you can watch the sessions afterwards. But we want you to come back in a few hours to our next session. We're really excited, and also join us tomorrow morning again at 10 a.m. Eastern for these amazing sessions that are coming through. So watch your email, use the same link to join us that you joined us today.
Invite your friends and family. Let's grow together.
Yes. Awesome.
Good day and good night, everybody, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Ervin. We have launched. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you, Jarvis. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, John. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Hubcast. Thank you, Irina Morrison. Thank you, all of our partners and sponsors. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of hearts and hands that have pulled this together. We're off to a good start.
A lot of people look at this and think, gosh, this might be difficult. This is a really hard work coming together and saving the world, so to speak. That's not for me. That's a big job. Actually, it's all quite the contrary, because what does give us a sense of hopelessness or despair or uselessness is the thought that we can't do anything, and we put our own self-imposed limitations on everything we do. But once we flip that switch and we begin thinking, yeah, this is the way nature and the universe works. This is the flow of the whole movement. This is the reason that 14 billion years of evolution have taken place to get us to precisely this point. And when we begin to think in those cosmic terms, that something's been going on for nearly 14 billion years to bring us to this point, and maybe even the crisis on a Earth today is there to motivate us, to trigger this. And as it was once said, there's nothing more powerful than a great idea whose time has come. And this is the time, and it's a good idea, because what's better than coming together as one humanity, working together, locking arms, sharing our experiences. And then suddenly, not only is that not hard, it becomes increasingly easier as we work with more people, we get more ideas, we share the burden, and it's not a burden any longer. It's just a joyous, beautiful path forward with increasing opportunities, creativity bubbling up from the dialogue between us as sincere human souls opening up to each other and exploring the way forward. So it's not hard work. It's blessed work. It fulfills us all, and it brings us to understand the purpose for which we were born.